The four things that the movie and musical Dear Evan Hansen reminded me to share with you. Hi, it's Martin, and yeah, that's right. Today we're going to be talking about those four things that this incredible movie and musical reminded me to share with you. Really important messages as well. Before I tell you what those four things are, let me just give you a little bit of context, a little bit of story, of which there are going to be a few life lessons in there as well, that led to this reminder. If you know me, if you follow me, you might know that there's a date at the end of August that is quite profound and important to me. Now, I don't want to call it an anniversary, because an anniversary to me is like a wedding anniversary, a celebration, a joyous celebration. But it is a date that marks something profound in my life. And this last August, it actually marked 6 years since the day I was at my absolute lowest. The day when I lost faith in everything, in myself, and I lost all hope, and I made that ultimate permanent decision to end my life. It was a pretty profound moment. Now, every August, at the end of August, I don't relive that trauma. I've spent 6 years going through the counseling, going through the therapy, going through psychiatry, and I've been on an incredible journey to be with you right now, sharing my story and to help and reassure and give hope to other people so they don't go through the same journey that I went through and don't make those sorts of permanent decisions. So it's a joy and a privilege to be here with you. This moment at the end of August, however, is a time for me to reflect. I use it to reflect on how I got to that point, reflect on what it was like in that moment, and also reflect on the journey since. And in many ways, that's the most important part. The journey since, because for me, it took me a long time to figure this out, but what I came to the realization was that the universe had a plan. And it put me through all these trials and tribulations. It put me through all the pain and suffering, and it didn't want to, and it knew it'd be tough for me. But it was like, Martin, you've got the courage and the strength. And importantly, you've got the people around you to help you through this. And trust me, it will be worth it. And at the other end of this, you're going to be able to stand tall, knowing exactly who you are, stand in your purpose, share your story, share your life lessons to help other people who may not be as strong or as courageous as you were, or might not have had the support that you had. That's my journey. That's what I believe with every fiber of my body. The universe had a plan. So I use this time to reflect. But at this time, there's also heightened emotion, right? I mean, very natural. I don't relive it, but my emotions are slightly heightened because I kind of know my journey and I know how profound and important and purposeful that journey has been. So, with that said, okay, where's Dear Evan Hansen fitting into this? Okay, so we'll say that was on the Friday, this day, and I was reflecting, and it's not just a day, right? You live with it for a week or so, and an opportunity arises, an opportunity to go and see the musical in the West End, Dear Evan Hansen, on the Monday. So if you know anything about Dear Evan Hansen, you will already put two and two together to go, oh, right, heightened emotions, because this has been your journey, and Dear Evan Hansen. If you don't know the story, I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Let's just say that it deals with some very tough topics, like feeling lost, feeling like you don't belong, not feeling good enough, and ultimately suicide. So you can now imagine, even if you don't know what Dear Evan Hansen is all about, that at this time when my emotions are heightened, and this has been my story and journey, to then put myself in a theatre with 1,000, 2,000 people and see this live, this very powerful story live, could potentially be quite tough. And what I would say is some extra bits to this story. We had seen the movie a couple of months before, so without the heightened emotion, saw the movie, and I gotta tell you, it practically broke me. Right? it reached deep into my soul and had a good rummage around. It is powerful, powerful stuff. Okay. And and the beautiful thing, if you're a, for the Evan Hansen nerds out there, the guy that plays Evan Hansen in the movie, Ben Platt, just incredible, was the original, and you'll know this if you know Dear Evan Hansen, but he was the original Dear Evan Hansen, the guy that played Evan Hansen in the Broadway musical. It's what, it's his identity practically. It's what broke him through. It's what he's renowned for. So he was able to, having left the show, really immortalize it in film. Brilliant. And a little bit of trivia for you. The guy that plays Connor, another lead character in there, he was actually Ben's understudy in the musical. So brilliant, right? So anyway, we've seen that it is powerful, powerful stuff. Also bear in mind that this is, I know it's, irrespective of the content, but there is message in here and the songs are amazing. I got two sons and it is their favorite musical. Okay. Their favorite, they sing that even before we'd seen the movie and the musical, they would sing it around the house, belt it out, because there is just anthemic songs, right? Just incredible, powerful songs, and they love singing it. And they saw the movie, and yeah, we were all in bits, but still very powerful. I am not going to stand in the way of our opportunity to go to the West End and go and see it live. And the fact of the matter was, this is coming off of the West End within the next 2 months. So it was kind of now or never, because it was the summer holidays, we were all off. But once school starts kicking in, well, we're back at school, we're back at all the clubs, we're not available at the weekends, and it's like, So it was now or never. And again, here's a life lesson. If you get these opportunities, these once in a lifetime opportunities, this in the moment, man, I don't know when this opportunity is going to come along again, grab it. Don't overthink it. Figure it out. Figure out the logistics. Figure out the how. Once you've made the decision to do it and take that opportunity, don't let the how. I don't know how we're going to do it. And I'm going to get in the way of an incredible experience. And this is personal or professional. Another, a really important life lesson, because a lot of people talk themselves out of anything and everything. So I wasn't going to stand in the way of that, and I wasn't going to make a big deal about it. Again, I'm not talking about like where my feelings are at. With the family, it's like, this is just for me. It's cool, right? Let's do this now. Another little bit of life lesson for you. Have you ever been to a theme park? You're like, what on earth, Martin? What are you talking about theme parks for? If you've ever been to a theme park and like there's the big rides, I think there are like 3 types of people that go to theme parks and go on the big rides. There are or not go on the big rides. There's the person that like they ain't gonna go. They're not gonna go on that ride. Right? You see the roller coaster and it's like, hey, I'm not going on. I don't care. You can pay me $1 billion. I am not going on that thing. Right? Those people, right? I know those people. There are then other people that they're likely to go on it, but they will work themselves up. And I'm not just talking about in the queue. I'm talking about like the day before, maybe even a week before, right? I got people like that in my family too, right? They can't sleep the night before knowing they're going to the theme park and there's this big ride that they know they kind of want to go on, but it's going to completely scare the bejesus out of them, right? And they work themselves out, and they're in the queue and they're working themselves up. And then they actually sit on the ride. And then it's like, right? Now they go off, and there's two outcomes of this. They either love it, right? And they just let all that adrenaline out, or they probably don't like it and they throw up afterwards, right? Okay? I hope you're not that latter, right? But they spend so much time and energy working themselves up to that moment, right? And they lose the moment they're in because they're working themselves up about this thing that's going to happen in the future, or may not even happen in the future. And people, that's anxiety, right? Anxiety is when we lose perspective and we're so worried and anxious about this thing that may or may not happen in the future, and we kind of, at the detriment of the moment right now. And, again, this is part of my journey, right? So for a long time, I didn't really understand this. But it's now something that, I've got better control over and can help other people with. I'm in the third set of people. So you've got the, I ain't going on that. They work themselves up, and then me. I'm sure there might be some other people, right? In the comments, let me know what kind of roller coaster person you are. I'm the kind of person that, like, yeah, we're gonna go on. I'm gonna go on that. Cool. But I ain't gonna think about it until I'm literally sat in that seat I'm not going to waste time worrying or thinking about it or getting anxious about it. And I just love roller coasters and stuff. But there are occasions when it's something brand new and it's doing something a little bit quirky, a little bit like I haven't experienced before. So it's like, oh, no, I'm not sure, right? But I ain't going to waste time worrying about it. I'm going to live my life fullest. And then when I'm sat in that seat and the old restraint thing comes down, right? That's the moment when I think about it. And I'm either like, come on, bring it on, or I'm like, what have I done? What have I done? I'm that person, right? So, and I take this sort of approach with this Dear Evan Hansen situation. This is where, it all makes sense. I know this is going to be tough, or potentially could be tough, but I'm not going to waste time and energy worrying about it, because we're going to go there, we're going to have an amazing day in London, and we're going to do it, okay? And it's going to be amazing. Even if emotionally it might be a tough one for me, even more so than watching the movie two months before. So you're with me? Okay. Now look, we go to London and we have just the best day. We go to the Lego store. We are huge Lego fans. If anyone knows me, I'm a huge Lego fan, right? I got tons of the stuff all over the house. Yeah, my wife despairs because we've got Lego all over the house. But we go to the Lego store. They've had a refurb, so it's bigger than it was before. They got these massive models of Harry Potter stuff and Gringotts. They got a life-size DB5 from James Bond that you can sit in, made of Lego. It's like kid in a candy shop, or indeed a Lego fan in a Lego shop. And they got this museum area where showing all the models through the years to celebrate their anniversary. We having a blast, right? We come out of there with Lego bags galore. We then go straight into Hard Rock Cafe, one of our favorite restaurants, to go and have a great meal. And when those things it just works, very often, it's like, oh, there's a little bit of a delay or something, and we're like, all right, well, we've got to get to the theatre at 7:30, and we're running a bit late because we spent a little bit more time in the Lego shop than we thought. So it's like, I'm not sure we've got time. It's like, oh, if there's a delay, it's probably gonna be an hour's wait. Oh, I'm not sure. We go in, we see the person, there at the door, and it's like, okay, come on through. Tables are ready. It's like, oh man, it couldn't have gone any smoother. And I get that we get there, right? We have a great time. I have the biggest set of ribs you have ever seen in your life. These things are coming off the plate. I'm talking like dinosaur ribs, right? It's like something like the Flintstones. It's great. We had this amazing meal. And the theatre is 5 minutes down the road. So we wrap that up in good time. We've had just the biggest pudding you've ever seen. It was ridiculous. And then we did 5 minutes and we go to the theatre, right? And we're there at the theatre, and it's so exciting. We see the boards and all that kind of stuff. We go in, we get our seats, and our seats are kind of on the tier up, and we're right at the front, so we can peer over, and the people are in the stalls down there, and we can peer over, and we can see everything on the stage. It's brilliant. This has just worked out so well. Anyway, they put on just the most incredible performance, and it was heart-wrenching, and it did. Even more so than when we saw the movie a couple of months before. It reached deep into my soul and had a real rummage around. And I'm there everyone's crying, right? It's one big cry fest, for goodness sake, right? And I will apologize to anybody in the stalls that was below me, right? Because it was like freaking Niagara Falls. You've been on the Jungle Cruise ride in Walt Disney World, the backside of water, right? It was like that. It was like, whew, so they were flooded in the stalls. But to be honest, they were flooded with their own tears as well. That's what I'm going to say anyway. But it was very, very emotional. It was extraordinary to witness it live, as any theatre is. And the music was just outstanding. Incredible. And we finish up with that, but I am like, oh, that was tough. I'm trying to hold it together because there was 1,000 or whatever people. I'm trying to hold it together. And we go downstairs, and we buy all the merch, right? We're here, right? This is probably the last time, or the first and only time we're gonna be here. Buy everything, right? So the hats and the t-shirts and the everything, right? And the programs, wonderful. And just like all musical West End Broadway nerds do. We then we just kind of on the off chance go around to the backstage door, right? Just on the off chance we might spy somebody. And sure enough, the lead, a guy called Sam Tutty, was just incredible. He was there greeting all the fans, and he's a young guy, just so grounded, so patient, so present with each and every person. There was quite a lot of people, and he would just show them grace and kindness, and hear what they had to say. Lots of plaudits, obviously, for him, sharing their stories, doing autographs, doing the pictures. Just an extraordinary young man. And we do the same. We're pretty much at the back of the queue by this time because we spent so long getting all the merch, right? And my eldest, he gets his Dear Evan Hansen book signed by Sam, and my youngest gets his brand new Dear Evan Hansen t-shirt signed by Sam. They have the pictures. Extraordinary, just extraordinary. And I get to have a kind of a private moment, just to kind of whisper in his ear to thank him, and for me, it was really important that he knew, and again, if you know the story, you'll get this. But I thanked him on behalf of myself and on behalf of everybody who stood on that branch. And he got it, and he was appreciative of that, and he knows. He knows the power of what that musical is and what it means to people. So we had an extraordinary time, Dear Evan Hansen. So we come home, and on the Thursday, that's the Monday, on the Thursday, my wife's mum and dad tend to come round, and we usually have a meal and we'll watch some TV or a movie. And some of you are one step ahead. So my family are telling them all about our amazing time in London and the Lego store and Hard Rock and the massive ribs and the huge pudding and how extraordinary Dear Evan Hansen was, and we got to meet him and the autographs and showing him all the merch. It's brilliant. What movie do you think they haven't seen? They haven't seen Dear Evan Hansen. Heightened emotion because of this period of time and this period of reflection for me. Watch the live musical. Amazing. But right, I'm still recovering. Really, just truly reached into my soul. And on Thursday, we end up watching the movie, which is just so immersive. And the cast do such an amazing job, and the songs are just outstanding. And I am desperately trying to hold it together. When something really impacts you emotionally, and it's not just like a quick sob or something. It's like literally your whole body kind of jerks. It's like there was moments in it, and I literally felt myself move. It's like I'm trying to hold it in. I'm like. And it is, I am mixed up all inside. And, again, everybody is distraught, but it's an extraordinary experience. I have to take myself aside afterwards to kind of collect myself and be calm and be in the moment and just breathe. Now, where's all this going? So what have I been reminded of? Heightened emotion. We get an amazing opportunity to watch the musical. We then have another opportunity to watch the movie, all in the same span of the week. Really tough topics, really feeling it. So what's my go-to? I said earlier in this talk, I said, I look to the universe and I say, wow, okay, what's the message here? Why? Right? Of all the times that we would have these opportunities, why now? Right? What's the lesson? What are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to tell me? What do I need to learn from this? And again, this is a life lesson in itself, because when stuff happens, very often our reaction is why me? What's this happening to me? This isn't on top of something else, and why this? And and I just go, oh, I haven't overcome this, and we go very into them. We go, oh, why? And we can really beat ourselves up. Whereas my go-to nowadays is, right, okay, what can I learn from this? No matter what it is, good, bad, ugly, right, okay, what can I learn? What's the story here? What's the reason here? What can I take away from this? And I searched this, and I sat with this for a few days, and I really thought this through. And because it was a profound week. Here's what I believe I learned. Here's what I believe the lesson was. Here's why the universe put me through that in that week. And some of you are going to go, well, that's woo-woo, and no, it just happened. It's just factual stuff, right? It's okay. But again, we bring meaning to everything that happens. And if we can bring meaning, we can bring learning. And here's what I discovered for me. First and foremost, before I get into the four things, first and foremost, the universe wanted me to never, ever, ever forget what it felt like 6 years ago. Yes, I've done the counseling and the therapy and the psychiatry and all the courses and the trainings, and I've been on my journey. But the universe does not want me to ever forget what that felt like in that moment. And the reason being, there are people that are feeling that right now. They're in that moment right now. Not 6 years ago, they're in it right now. And maybe they don't have that courage or that strength, and they don't have the people around them. They don't have the medical support. I need to not forget what that felt like, because that's my fuel. That's what's burning inside. That's my purpose. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I share. That's why I help. That's why I support. First lesson from the universe: never ever forget what that felt like. And this week, it really reached into me, and I tapped into some of those feelings that maybe I hadn't tapped into for a little while. Not in a traumatic way, in a way that brought me back to center and said, hey, this is what you're doing it for. Never forget. And I thank the universe for that. The four things that then this whole experience, Dear Evan Hansen and the universe, reminded me to share with you was, in that moment, after that moment in my life and the journey I then went on through all the recovery, I came to 4 conclusions. There were 4 things that are as relevant now as they were right then, and I share them. But maybe the universe was saying, you don't share them enough, Martin. You haven't reminded people enough. And I thank the universe for this, for reminding me of these 4 key lessons that I took from my own experience, and that I share them with others to help them and reassure them and give them the hope and to give them the light. And the very first one of those is that you are enough. That you are enough. I spent 20 years not feeling like I was enough, that I didn't fit in. No matter what happened, no matter what, success, however you wish to define that, and performance and whatever, I didn't feel good enough. And it was a huge part of how I felt. And it led to other things. I want to tell you right here and now, having lived life, having been through what I went through, having helped so many people, you are good enough. You might not think you're good enough, but you are good enough right now. Can you learn? Can you get better? Is there an amazing future ahead of you? Yes, but you are good enough right now in this moment. That's number 1. You are good enough. That's number 2. Stress. A lot of my backstory was all started from stress, work stress, that just escalated until it was out of control. Stress is not the tax that you have to pay for the privilege of living and working in the 21st century. Let me say that again. Stress is not the tax that you have to pay for the privilege of living and working in the 21st century. We kid ourselves. We go, oh, I've got this family set up. Stress just comes with it. Oh, I'm in this environment. Stress just comes with it. I'm at this level in an organization. Stress just comes with it. Oh, I'm running my own business. It's just stressful. Stress is a part of life. Anyone out there saying they can eradicate stress or a stress-free life, it's BS. Okay, stress is a part of life. But if stress is part of your life 24/7, then we need to do something about it. And again, this is from my journey. Stress is not that badge, and it's not that tax that we have to pay 24/7 for working and living in the 21st century. It's just not. And I'm proof of that because I've turned things around in terms of how I look at life, myself, and work. The third thing, really important. There is always someone you have not spoken to. There is always a conversation you have not had. And there is always something you haven't done, an action you haven't taken. There is always someone you haven't spoken to, always someone you haven't had a conversation with or a conversation you haven't had. And there is always an action, something you haven't done. I got to that point 6 years ago because I felt like I had done everything. I had spoken to everybody that I could, had every conversation I could, and that I had taken all the action and I'd been on all the medication that I could. I was wrong. And one conversation saved my life and then snowballed other conversations and people into my life that I didn't know existed, and conversations I didn't know that I could have, medication that I didn't know that was there, diagnosis that I didn't know was there. I was wrong. There is always somebody you haven't spoken to, always a conversation you haven't had, always an action you haven't taken. It is so important, and you don't have to be on the edge of life for this. Sometimes we just kind of go, I just don't know a way forward. And just before you want to give up or quit, I'm telling you now, there's always somebody, a conversation, or an action you haven't taken. And the fourth reminder is simply reach out. If you're struggling, no matter where you are on that spectrum of stress and struggle, reach out. I know it can take all the courage in the world, and it took all the courage in the world for me to have a conversation with my wife, my soulmate, somebody who's been with me since we were 18 months old. We've been to nursery together, junior school together, secondary school together, college together. She's my absolute soulmate and my guardian angel. On my fifth chance of life, she has saved my life several occasions, and she did it again in that moment. But it took courage to have a conversation with her. Can you imagine having a conversation with your soulmate, the person you love the most in the world, telling her that you feel so hopeless and helpless that you want to end it all? Toughest conversation of my life. However, it was the most important conversation of my life. You can do this. So reach out. I hope this story, I hope these life lessons have served you. It's been a privilege to share them with you. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. If I can be of any assistance to you or support, please reach out. Share this, like this. I'd love to hear what you thought as well. Please comment. Sending you blessings.